So I decided to venture to Sudbury in Suffolk, where in St Peter's Church, which is the art centre now, there was a display of some of the witch trials of Suffolk and all the horrendous things that happened. Later on, I discovered there was more interesting facts about Suffolk to discover, and specifically in Sudbury. So we did go back. I'm Tanya, this is Beyond Worlds, and welcome to Sudbury Shadows in the Silk. Sudbury, Suffolk is a market town on the River Stour, a place of wool, silk and saints, a town whose stones remember kings, rebels, weavers and midwives, and those shadows remember things people thought they'd left behind. Tonight on Beyond Worlds, we follow the town's trail from medieval markets to modern mills and step into the hush where history becomes haunt. So as I said, when we first went to Sudbury, it was to visit St Peter's Church, which is now the art centre. On display at the time was the witch trial artefacts and some basic history about the witch trials in Suffolk and local areas, with Matthew Hopkins as one of the main people represented there, along with some of the accused people. As you know, the witch trials were horrific. It was a horrifying time to be alive and to be a woman that had a certain advantage and power over men. It was very much accusing more women than men of witchcraft, to do with land ownership and possession really. If any women come to power that had influence over any individuals of man, you know, people asserting themselves as witch finders would accuse them, and the church or maybe the king would take their land, knowing full well that most of the witch trials ended in death, even if you were innocent. We only went to Sudbury at the time to look at the witch trial artefacts that they had, but later when I got home I discovered some interesting facts about Sudbury and a local legend. As we pushed deeper into the 1600s, a darkness swept across East Anglia. This was the era of the infamous Suffolk witch trials, fueled by the terrifying reign of Matthew Hopkins, the self-appointed witchfinder general. More than 60 people across the local districts were accused of witchcraft, facing brutal execution. In Sudbury, local lore tells a haunting story of a respected community midwife. In the 16th and 17th centuries, women who understood herbal medicine, healing, and the mysteries of childbirth were deeply vulnerable. Following a series of tragic, unexplained infant deaths in the area, the fingers of a paranoid, superstitious community pointed directly at her. They branded her a witch. On North Street, we find one of Sudbury's most tragic echoes. Agnes Everline, a midwife accused of witchcraft. Her story is not sensational. It is painfully ordinary. Midwives were powerful within their communities. Jealousy, debt, greed, and fear could turn ordinary tragedies into accusations. Agnes's story is a reminder that many witch trials were motivated by social and financial pressure, a dark scene in English history. Realizing her fate, if she were caught by the witchfinders, The midwife fled in the dead of night into the dense, untamed woods surrounding Sudbury. Armed mobs and hounds tracked her to the edge of the forest, but the tree seemed to swallow her whole. She never was seen again. Did she survive as a hermit in the wilderness, or did she perish in the cold? Locals whisper that if you walk those woods on a quiet autumn night, the faint scent of medical herbs and the sound of rustling leaves follows you, a sign that Sudbury's missing midwife is still hiding. Sudbury is older than many suspect. Referred to as Sudbury in early records, the town appears in Anglo-Saxon references and is recorded in the Domesday Book. By the early second millennium, Sudbury had become an important market town. Its open spaces and river made it a trading hub, but it was war that built the wealth and the houses, and with wealth came history that would never leave. From the 1200s to the 1500s, Sudbury's economy thrived on broadcloth, heavy woolen fabric prized across Europe. The Crown encouraged skilled weavers to settle here. Flemish artisans helped raise Sudbury's status as an East Anglian textile centre. Their wealth paid for the timber frame merchants' houses and for the churches we still see lining Market Hill. As fashions and technologies changed, so did Sudbury. By the 17th century, and especially the 18th and 19th centuries, silk became the town's defining industry. Skilled spinners and weavers, sometimes moving from London's Spitalfields, set up mills along the Stour. By mid-1800s, thousands worked in spinning, dyeing and weaving. The sound of looms replaced the sound of sheep. Whilst walking around and finding out information, I found out that 600 looms in Sudbury were once active at one time, and the long terraces featuring in the townscape were once where the looms were. Many have been demolished in the 1960s and 70s. They were active on Melford Road, New Street, East Street, Station Road, Cross Street. I found some of the mills that were left today. Some of the businesses still open today. There are 5 left, but I only found 3. Humphreys Weaving, Stephen Walters and Sons, and Gainsborough Silk Mills. These all started from the wool weaving, and later started to produce other fibres and silks. There is another side to this, as witnesses have heard looms still running in empty buildings, and also they have heard chatter in another language. And where humans work for generations, they leave behind more than dust, they leave whispers. The old mill sites, now partly converted into hotels and flats, are where night watchers claim to hear the rhythmic tapping of looms long dismantled, the weavers' whispers, voices rising as if woven into the fibres themselves. In the heart of Sudbury stands a modern guide to an ancient town, the Talbot Trail. Beginning behind the town hall in Jail Lane, it is a series of 14 bronze posts, each crowned with a small sculpture. The trail is designed to lead residents and visitors around the town's historic and cultural highlights. Each post is telling a story, from the town jail, which is now the Heritage Centre, to the local literacy connections, from reels of cloth to moments of rebellion. Think of the Talbot Trail as a curated spine running through Sudbury's history. Each post is a waypoint, Each waypoint is an opportunity to connect to the town's factual past, with stories, legends and the ghosts that grew from it. The statue for the town jail, for example, sits behind the town hall, a fitting reminder that law and order in Sudbury's past could be harsh. It sits at the trail's start like an invitation, so follow and the town will tell you all its secrets. So finding some more information out about Sudbury, Suffolk, we travelled back there this year, a couple of weeks ago now, and I just wanted to find more information really. I'd found out about a few different things that were kind of really strange, but I will lead you into the story. So it's a beautiful place around here. This is the back of St Gregory's Church, and St Gregory's Church has some really good, strange history. Our journey into the Maccabee begins right in the heart of the town at St Gregory's Church. If you know who to ask, you might be shown a small, unassuming cabinet or cubbyhole. Inside rests one of the most gruesome historical relics in Great Britain, the mummified, decapitated head of Simon of Sudbury. In the 14th century, Simon was one of the most powerful men in England, rising to become the Archbishop of Canterbury and Lord Chancellor. But his downfall was swift and brutal. Simon introduced the highly unpopular poll tax, and it triggered the peasants' revolt of 1381. An angry mob stormed the Tower of London, dragged Simon to the Tower Hill, and brutally beheaded him. It reportedly took 8 strokes of an axe to finish the job. His body was buried in Canterbury Cathedral. His severed head was on a pike, but was secretly brought back to the hometown of Sudbury in a barrel of brine. Today, his skull remains incredibly well preserved, complete with shriveled parchment skin and even a remaining ear. Over the years, locals and visitors alike have reported a heavy, chilling energy near his resting place, as if the traumatized spirit of the Archbishop still lingers, forever separated from his resting body. After leaving St Gregory's Church, we made our way down the back alleys and streets towards the back of the Mill Hotel, which once, obviously by its name, it was once a mill, now converted. And it holds a mystery and a secret and a supernatural tale, all of its own. In 1971, during renovation work at the building that is now the Mill Hotel, workers found a mummified cat bricked into the floor. In early modern Britain, animals, notably cats, were sometimes placed in walls or foundations as charms to protect buildings from evil. The discovery sparked local fear. Misfortunes followed, and according to oral history, the cat was replaced behind glass, a returned guardian. The story goes that after the cat was found, a shop had purchased the cat and decided to have it on display. But after it purchased the cat, the shop then caught on fire one night and burnt down. but the cat remained intact, which led to suspicion. The story does connect to the continental folk practices and leaves a visible reminder of how magic and construction mingled in people's minds. Today you will find the cat under glass in the floor in its original resting place. No Sudbury documentary is complete without Thomas Gainsborough. Born here on the 14th of May, 1727, his youthful wanderings along the River Stour and meadowlands shaped the sensibility we now recognise in his landscapes. A soft, almost otherworldly light that made the ordinary seem enchanted. But Gainsborough's house holds ghost stories of its own. Staff have told of portraits whose eyes seem to follow visitors, footsteps in empty galleries, and the sudden scent of turpentine and a sigh in the attic studio. Whether the painter lingers or the house simply echoes its past, Gainsborough's presence is another thread in Sudbury's woven memory. The River Stour, which gave Sudbury life, also keeps its memories. At Cornard Riverside, the mist thickens in summer evenings. People tell of being separated from friends for minutes that felt like hours. Conrad Wood, a patch of trees on the town's edge, is a place where birds fall silent at dusk, and something walks just out of sight. The trackbed of a former railway, now a nature walk, retains the echoes of trains that stopped here long ago. Some walkers hear phantom rumbles and distant whistles. These echoes are the town's soundscape of absence. Where the veil is thin. Meadow Walk and the common lands are where Sudbury sheep once grazed. On some evenings, blue lights have been seen drifting across the grasslands, drawing people out of the steppe. Shoreland's narrow lanes hold the watchers, tall, shadowy figures, once seen glimpsing between houses, and sometimes hiding amongst the trees. A secret garden is tucked away behind some private walls, and it's said to have its own time. Visitors feel hours pass like minutes, and sometimes hear laughter when there are no children. On our walk we also discovered a cafe called the Secret Garden. The Secret Garden Cafe and Restaurant operates out of Buzzards Hall, which is a beautifully preserved medieval property dating back to the 1400s and 15th century. This brings me on to some more local history about the monasteries and a walled-up nun. In the 12th and 13th centuries, Sudbury was a deeply religious hub. Right in the town centre stood Sudbury Priory, a massive Dominican friary where the Black Friars walked the grounds, and just a short walk away to the north was St Bartholomew's, a Benedictine priory cell. By 1540, King Henry VIII had dissolved them all, leaving behind little more than street names like Friar Street and an ancient chapel converted into a barn. But when you tear down holy places, the stories they leave behind refuse to be buried. Travel just 3 miles southwest down the winding River Stour, and you will find yourself in a tiny parish of Borley. Here once stood Borley Rectory, famously branded the most haunted house in England, and at the centre of its terrifying reputation, the legend of the walled-up nun. The folklore tells of a beautiful young nun from a convent in nearby Bourges, who fell into a forbidden passionate affair with a Benedictine monk. Desperate to escape their strict vows, they plotted to flee in a horse-drawn carriage in the dead of night. But they were betrayed. The monk was swiftly executed. The coachman met the same fate. But for the nun, the punishment was far more sadistic. The legend claims she was dragged to the hollow stone walls of her convent, forced into a tiny cavity and bricked up alive, left to starve in complete suffocating darkness. For decades, terrified witnesses at Borley Rectory claimed to see her sorrowful ghost wandering a path known as the Nun's Walk, searching for her lost lover. It's a chilling tale, but what is the real history? When paranormal researchers dug into the records, they found a different truth. There never was a medieval nunnery in Bourges, nor a monastery on the rectory site. Historians believe the story was actually a clever Victorian invention, likely born from the Gothic literature of the 19th century and popularised by the rector's children. Yet there is an historical kernel of truth that likely inspired the myth, the medieval practice of our anchorites. These were deeply religious men and women who voluntarily chose to be permanently walled up into tiny stone cells attached to local churches. They spent their entire lives in solitary prayer, receiving food through a tiny slit in the stone. To the modern mind, it sounds like a horror movie. To the medieval mind, it was the ultimate devotion. This brings us to the town's most persistent paranormal phenomenon, the phantom voices of Sudbury. As we mentioned earlier, the town centre was once home to the Dominican Black Friars. Though their priory was destroyed centuries ago, their acoustic imprints seem to permanently be recorded into the atmosphere. For decades, residents living near Friars Street and Market Hill have reported hearing the unmistakable sound of ghostly, low-frequency chanting late at night, even when the streets are entirely empty. But it isn't just singing. Witnesses have also reported hearing the disembodied sound of casual chatting, the murmur of a crowd speaking an archaic form of English, echoing through ancient cellars and alleyways. Spectral figures of robed monks have been spotted gliding through solid walls near the old boundaries, disappearing the moment a living eye locks onto them. If the ghosts of the past aren't enough to unnerve you, the ground beneath your feet in Sudbury just might. For generations, whispers have circulated through Sudbury's historic pubs about a strange, interconnected network of secret tunnels hiding right under the town centre. Local myths say these passages secretly link the old Dominican friary to St. Peter's Church and the historic local inns, allowing monks and townspeople to move unseen during times of religious persecution. Step away from the folklore, however, and the geological reality is actually much more dangerous. Sudbury sits on vast, incredible, rich amounts of deposits of chalk and lime, and for hundreds of years industrial mining took place right beneath the town. Miners hollowed out literal honeycomb labyrinths of unmapped subterranean galleries and chambers to extract chalk for brickmaking and agriculture. Because these historic tunnels were never properly documented, they remain a silent, hidden hazard. Every few decades, the town gets a stark reminder of what lies below when a portion of a local garden or a road suddenly collapses into a forgotten, gaping underground void. The obsession with Sudbury's underground even sparked one of the area's most famous modern pranks. In 2019, a viral local story claimed that construction workers near the Sainsbury's on Connaught Road had uncovered a massive, perfectly intact 100-year-old railway tunnel. The story claimed the local council was going to turn it into an underground traffic bypass. It was an April Fool's hoax, of course, but the fact that so many locals believed it proves just how deeply the mystery of Sudbury's underground is etched into the local psyche. If you want to explore the history of the tunnels in the local area, there is a book out by Martin Taylor called Going Underground. Our final story brings us back above ground to the banks of the River Stour at the Mill Acre picnic area. Here you will find a quiet concrete boating and paddling pool. For nearly 50 years, children have played here, racing model boats on sunny afternoons. But this peaceful park was actually born out of an international disaster that shook the world in the summer of 1971. Now, when I looked into this story, I read one thing and then found something completely bizarre. I think there was a little bit of a cover-up to hide the facts of what truly went on, and I'm going to deliver you the whole story. On July 30th, 1971, All Nippon Airways Flight 58, a Boeing 727 carrying 162 people, was cruising at 28,000 feet over Shikushi, Japan. In the initial reports, it was said that the plane tried to land in heavy pouring rain and crashed as it was landing. But I have now found out, by looking into it further, in a devastating twist of fate, a Japanese military F-86 fighter jet on a training mission collided mid-air with the airliner. The tragedy left no survivors. Among the passengers on that ill-fated flight was a group of British tourists. Tragically, it included the Green family, well-known and beloved residents of Sudbury. The loss devastated the tight-knit Suffolk community. In 1975, looking for a way to turn the unimaginable tragedy into a lasting legacy for the town's children, the community built the Mill Acre boating pond as a living memory to the Green family. Today, the concrete pool shows its age, bearing the cracks of 5 decades of British weather, sparking frequent debates about its restoration. But it stands as a poignant reminder that history isn't just about what happened hundreds of years ago. It's woven into the very places where we walk, play and remember. Sudbury, Suffolk, a town of picturesque beauty, wrapped in dark folklore and deeply real history. Whether it's the voluntary confinement of medieval anchorites, the unmapped chalk mines waiting silently beneath the streets, or a peaceful park pool built from the ashes of a sky-bound tragedy, the past is never truly dead here. It's just waiting to be uncovered. What do you think lies beneath the surface of your town? Let us know in the comments below. And if you would like me to expand on any specific section or add any more local Sudbury lore, such as Simon or Sudbury's severed head at St Gregory's Church, let me know. And Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and join us next time as we venture further in the Beyond Worlds. And don't forget to follow the podcast. Goodbye for now. I'm Tanya from the Beyond Worlds.
Stay with us forever.